What's up, Rad family? Summertime is the perfect time to watch movies because you can escape the heat by staying in cool theaters or air-conditioned homes. So if you're looking for a great horror movie to sit back and relax with, I got you covered. I narrowed down this summer's releases to bring you what I think is the top 10 horror movies. I included several different subgenres, so hopefully I included something that'll interest you. So let's get to it. Prepare to have clowns enter your nightmares because on September 8th, it is coming back scarier than ever, reportedly. Based on the 1986 novel of the same name by Stephen King, this upcoming horror flick focuses on a group of friends after fellow kids start to go missing in their town. In an attempt to uncover what happened, the kids soon discover a real-life nightmare might be behind the abductions. They find an evil entity that likes to take on the form of a twisted clown. Still determined to stop more kids from disappearing, they'll now have to fight for their own lives. This movie definitely has big shoes to fill following the iconic miniseries starring Tim Curry, but there's a lot of hype surrounding the new rendition. As a huge fan of Lotta Lawson and David F. Sandberg, the duo behind the insanely creepy and original horror shorts posted on the YouTube channel Pony Smasher, I'm super excited to see this movie in theaters on August 11th. The director of last year's hit Lights Out, Sandberg is back at it again with Annabelle Creation. It's the fourth installment of the Conjuring series and serves as an origin prequel for the movie Annabelle. Telling how the doll became possessed, the plot follows a doll maker and his wife who suffer from the tragic passing of their own daughter years before. As they invite a nun and a group of young girls into their home to stay, what seems like an innocent good deed turns out to be anything but. The possessed doll Annabelle is determined to terrorize the girls. The movie currently sits at a Rotten Tomatoes score of 100%, so it looks incredibly promising. This movie is going to teach you to be careful what you wish for because it might just come true. Premiering in theaters on July 14th, but don't let its current Rotten Tomatoes score of 24% deter you from checking out this summer horror flick. The story follows a high school girl who is gifted a music box by her father, but this is no ordinary gift as it promises to grant its owner 7 wishes. Unfortunately for her, she doesn't realize the demands come with a steep price. For every wish it grants, it demands a life in return, and it takes them bloodily. If you're into guts and gore, this might be a good title for you to check out. With a certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes score, It Comes at Night is being touted as the summer's best horror flick. Premiering in theaters on June 9th, the plot centers on an apocalyptic world where a deadly threat lurks about. A family has managed to survive in an isolated home. But when another family shows up pleading for refuge, their safety isn't as secure as they hoped. Paranoia is casted over the entire house, and the two families' trusts are put to the ultimate test. Wanting to protect his family above all else, a man has to determine what's their biggest threat. And it might just be what's inside that scares him the most. If you're looking for an intense horror movie, you have to make a point to see this. As a fan of the original movie and the scandalous story that inspired it, I was super excited to hear about this new installment. Unfortunately, Amityville: The Awakening has been in production since 2014, but it finally made its premiere in theater on June 30th. The story centers on Belle and her family who moves into a new house, but shortly thereafter experience strange and unexplainable events, like the miraculous recovery of her brother. But not all that happens is good, as Belle begins experiencing horrible night terrors. When she begins to investigate the link between their new house, she makes the terrifying discovery that her mother moved them into the evil Amityville house. If you're a fan of the franchise or dig paranormal plots, I'd give this movie a chance. Stephen King fans rejoice because he has another movie premiering this summer. The Dark Tower hits theaters on August 4th and is described as, let me get ready for this, a science fantasy western action horror. I don't know how the heck a movie can incorporate so many different genres, but the movie follows the last gunslinger as he travels through another dimension called Midworld, taking on the challenging and dangerous task of reaching the Dark Tower in an attempt to save all life from being destroyed. He battles against monsters and the evil man in black that is determined to stop him. Safe to say, things get pretty tense. And I think it's worth seeing just for the crazy summary alone. Polaroid. Now this is the type of horror movie I get excited about. Polaroid launches in theaters on August 25th and focuses on a high school girl that stumbles across an old Polaroid camera. Unknowing of its dark secrets, she begins using the camera to take photos of those around her. But when the subjects of her photographs start meeting gruesome ends, she realizes the camera has a deadly effect. Supernatural stories that incorporate everyday occurrences is what I'm all about. So I can't wait to see this movie. This movie might just make you second guess that dip in the ocean this summer. 47 Meters Down hit theaters on May 24th, and though it currently sits with a modest Rotten Tomatoes score of 54%, I think this movie is plenty capable of sparking some realistic nightmares. The film follows two sisters on a vacation in Mexico who decide to participate in cage diving, a way to experience sharks up close in the wild. But when tragedy strikes as the chain to the cage snaps and sends the girls crashing to the ocean floor, with limited air and surrounded by hungry sharks, they must find a way to survive, and time isn't on their side. Truthfully, I'll watch any horror movie with a 20% or above, so a 54% seems pretty promising in my opinion. The Beguiled. The first time I saw the trailer for this movie, I was sold. The Beguiled premiered in theaters on May 24th and currently sits with a fresh Rotten Tomatoes score of 78%, based on a novel and film of the same name. The story follows an injured Union soldier who deserts his position and finds refuge during the Civil War at an all-female boarding school. It doesn't take long for him to become romantically involved with some of the girls, and tensions quickly rise as a result. Let's just say things take an unexpected and gruesome turn of events. It's a unique and interesting plot that is perfect to see on a late summer night. A ghost story is unlike anything else I have ever heard of before, and its fresh Rotten Tomatoes score of 87% shows people appreciated its uniqueness. Premiering in theaters on July 7th, the story follows a recently deceased ghost of a man that returns to his home and his wife to find he is no longer trapped in time. Free to travel about the universe, he goes on a cosmic adventure to answer life's toughest questions and to understand why he existed in the first place. While it's definitely not a traditional horror movie by any means, I thought it deserved to be on this list for its supernatural plot premise that horror fans might enjoy. I hope this list was able to distract you from the summer heat waves. If you haven't already, please click that notification button to join the Rad Fam and to be notified when the next Creepy List goes live. Until next time, keep up the radness, and I'll see you next week. Bye! Speaking of heat wave, it is hot in here.